Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, millions of people joined in a worldwide youth-led climate strike, with many, including students, demonstrating. Some Ghanaians have also joined this movement. On Friday, dozens of protesters, including students, petitioned the Environment Ministry, calling for action against climate change and declaration of a climate emergency. Here are what some young people have been telling government.
Now, we go.
Because we are suffering too much. When you wake up in the afternoon, a lot of heat, and then the farmers too, when they go to fishing, they don't get fish. They come along with refuse. We don't understand. That's why we came here, because we need climate action now. That's why we came here.
What do you think government should be doing to ensure that our climate system is better?
Okay, the Environmental Protection and the agency, they have to put down laws and order. Like maybe if you put refuse in the sea, they will you'll be fined, or maybe you go to prison for some days.
We are here to strive for climate, and what we must do to, promote health in this country. We have to stop cutting down of trees, and fumes from factories must be stopped, and fumes from the industry must also be stopped. That's why I'm here.
So what practical things do you think that government and every one of us as a country can do to ensure that this is gone completely?
I think the government must pass a law so that all these bad practices must be stopped.
We are all concerned about the climate changes. The climate changes nowadays has brought a lot of distractions to all of us. Example like flooding all over the place.
How do you think this can be stopped?
Through all of us as a nation, we should all help ourselves by not dumping refuse on the floor, and also cleaning our gutters.
I have to quit school because of climate change, and I think this is destroying us because our weather, it has been a change, because now there's more heat in Accra, and the iceberg are burning, are reducing down, and the sea is rising, and I think I have to quit school and come to a strike.
So he didn't mean that he was quitting school for good. He meant that he had to, hang on, just be a part of that demonstration. Well, in the meantime, a 16-year-old climate activist, Greta Thunberg, has been all over the news after she criticized world leaders for their lack of commitment to addressing dangerous global heating.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us. But the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
So last week in our crossover to Germany in Berlin, we had a conversation about how climate change is a big deal elsewhere. Take European countries where it actually is a determinant to people's electoral victory. And so Angela Merkel herself is going through a whole lot, including climate change, just so she can retain her position as Chancellor of that country. It's gratifying to know that gradually that conversation is coming much closer home. I've been joined in the studio by some young people who, like Greta, are committed to fighting climate change. Chibeze Ezekiel is a coordinator with the Strategic Youth Network for Development, and Evelyn Ado is a communication officer with CASA Initiative Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Like I'm saying, it's gratifying to know, because for most of us as Ghanaians, most of the time we have too many bread and butter issues to talk about. And so climate issues don't stand out as the immediate subject of a discussion for us on a daily basis. But it is a real threat and we need to deal with it. So it's gratifying to know that the conversation is coming home. But I'm seeing these young people talk about these passionately. But come to think of it, you listen to the young Ghanaians who are talking, you get the impression that some of them don't really understand the issues. Beyond the fanfare, how are we making sure that our children really get it, that they really understand why they should stand up for it, not because a group is mobilizing them to say, hey, go and say this and say that, but that they really understand it, because then it informs how they behave towards the climate or towards the environment as well. Any of you can go.
I'm going to go first. It's a ladies first.
Okay, so as part of our activities, we have started going to schools and educating students on the importance of being aware of what is happening. Today we were at Kimbu Secondary School, where we engaged the students. We took them through the SDGs. We taught them what each goal means and what they can do as young people to actually help achieve the goals. And on the issue of climate change, yes, in Ghana, it has not really been an issue on the table. But now, as we can all see the indicators of climate change around us, we have started engaging young people. We have groups in universities like JIJ. We have some students at Legon that we have started training and talking to understand the issue of climate change, so that they can also go back to their community and inform their parents and their colleagues.
That sounds cool. I hope that it really works, because we need to understand the issues. But let me come to you, Mr. Chibeze, the Strategic Youth Network for Development. What role is it really playing when it comes to climate change and the conversation in Ghana?
Well, for us, we believe that young people have a role in the fight against climate change. So what we do basically is to mobilize young people to be actively involved in the process. I must also say that even though government is doing a lot of work to educate the public on climate change, there's still room for improvement. But I must say that the government has also mainstreamed climate change into our curriculum. That's one new development that has come to educate our young people on climate change issues. Because if you watch the video, you could see that some of the young people have even realized some changes in our environment. So at least they know that something is happening to the environment, but perhaps they're not able to connect that to the climate change. So I believe that over time, when we educate them in school and through our social work, they will understand what climate change is. So basically what we do is to also support government as young people, to help in education, go to communities, educate our peers on climate change, to change our habits. That's a way of contributing to the fight against climate change. For example, if you are home, you take put off your light if you're not using it. So these are simple things we can do as young people to help in the process. Going
forward, is there a target that we, I mean, is there a plan that, okay, this is what we're doing, and in this plan we want to achieve so and so target in, say, 5 years as far as climate change is concerned? I mean, is there anything like that, so that we know that the efforts you're putting in at the end of the day is yielding results, I mean, practical results?
Yes, during the Paris Agreement, Paris Climate Agreement, there's one condition called the nationally determined contributions. That means countries must decide how they want to contribute in terms of cutting carbon emission in the fight against climate change. So Ghana has developed its NDCs, we call it NDCs, which must run from 2020 to 2030. So in a few weeks from now, government is coming out with a document called the pre-2020 NDCs. It will be more like a baseline report to tell us where we are as a country in our fight against climate change, so that we can track between 2020 and 2030 how we are making progress in the fight against climate change. So there's a document available to guide us. And of course, it's a multi-sectorial document because climate change is cross-cutting. Agric is doing that bit, Ministry of Energy is doing that bit, Ministry of Women and the rest are doing that bit. So it's a document that speaks to all the sectors to see how we are faring as a country.
I see. Evelyn, yourself, I mean, any thoughts as to how we can get this? Because you see, one thing that we do very well in this country is put things on paper, and I'm sure that you know.
That's true.
We do very well. We have beautiful laws, we have beautiful plans, but when it comes to getting the job done on the ground, we find ourselves wanting. For organizations like yours, I mean, that focusing on these things and following it to make sure that we get the results that we want. What are your expectations, I mean, of what government has or what that government doesn't have?
Okay, so for us, we expect government to start acting now. We have the National Adaptation Plan, which is we are supposed to start implementation 2020. So we are hoping that government will start implementing the policies that they themselves have written, and that's why we have started putting much pressure on the government to start acting, to start not just talking about climate change or trying to do things, but actually enforce or implement the policies that they have. For instance, in our National Adaptation Plan, government wants to shift our energy, like the general energy, 10% of it to renewable. And we, since
We've
last
been talking
year,
about that for a very long time too.
Since last year, our organization has been hitting on it. We've been releasing press statements, asking government to start. Government have actually done a couple of things in that regard, but we think that it's not enough, and we want to see more action rather than the talk that they keep talking.
And I'm excited that we're involving children, young people in this conversation, because then if they can put the pressure on them, because this, I mean, we'll all die soon. and God forbid, if they don't die before we do, they will have to inherit whatever it is, environment we're leaving for them. So it's good that we add them to the conversation. And I'm grateful that you joined us. If you do have any final words as to how we can move this conversation forward with our children, with all of us, especially here in Ghana, where we really feel like climate change is an abstract term. Any final words you want to share?
Okay, so on the 27th, which is this Friday, we are having an awareness creation march in Accra. So we encourage members of the public to join us, to just come and learn and understand what climate change is. Similar marches will be going on in Obuasi, Damangu, and some other places across the country. So we are encouraging everybody to come. Just come and listen, and just come and educate yourself. If you are even a small-scale farmer, just come and learn how the climate is going to affect your farm, and new methods of farming that can help you adapt. So we are encouraging everybody to come and.
Sounds great. What's the where is the starting point?
Obra Sports.
Obra Sports, the usual. Okay. And what's the time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. That's tomorrow, right?
Friday, yes.
Oh, Friday.
27th,
okay.
yes.
Friday, 27th.
Yes, please.
27th. Okay. So, Ezekiel, you have any final words yourself?
Yes. I think climate change is no respect of persons. It's no respect of political parties. So what we are saying that we want everybody to be involved in the fight against climate change. We depend on our farmers for our food, and it's affecting food and all that. We talk about food security, and these are some of the consequences of climate change. So we want everybody to be involved. If you don't understand it, come. We are prepared to share, to educate you, so we can be part of this process, because it's for the sake of our future that we are fighting this.
Certainly. Like I said, it might sound an abstract term when you talk of climate change because it's not kinky and fish and it's not, you know, the usual daily bread kind of conversation. But it's a very important conversation, and here in Ghana, we need to attach a bit more seriousness to it. So join the, is it the CASA Initiative Ghana and the Strategic Youth Network for Development on Friday, which is the 27th of this month at the Obra Sport at 9 a.m. They're just going on a march, and this is to create awareness about climate change and the need for us to take action, really. Thank you very much for coming, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking to Evelyn Ador. He's the CASA Initiative Ghana Communications Officer, and Chibeze Ezekiel is a coordinator for Strategic Youth Network for Development. Thank you very much. Keep working hard for our climate, for our environment.